Hello.
Great. How are you, Kitty?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
How you doing? I am doing fine. Just drinking my coffee.
You got coffee? I have marshmallow.
There you go. Don't drink marshmallow, though.
I'm not going to drink marshmallow. Marshmallow's just here to keep me warm.
Gotcha. Do you want to introduce our fantastic, fabulous podcast?
Yeah, I can do that. Hi, everyone. Welcome to All the Films We Judged Before. I'm Katie, and that over there is the very pretty-looking Lily Kay.
Ah, no, you're pretty. I am not Troy Baker. I am Troy Faker, and I am also the Sun Summoner. I don't know. That felt like calling. Oh yeah.
That one went very well because it all came off your glasses.
Beautiful. I had this one experience when we worked at the National Theatre with Elliot, our friend Elliot, and it was an event for Small Islands, which was a play there, and everyone kept saying that my glasses look great, and the whole cloak room and everything was in dark, like it was like neon-y shiny things all around, and because the inside of my glass is neon, that made it glow up, so I was glowing, but I didn't know about it. But everyone kept going, "Oh, I like your glasses, it's really good," and I was like, thank you. I don't know what's happening. And that was this girl, one of the actors. She was so awesome. I saw her backpack and it had the Starfleet pin on it. And when she came for the backpack, I can talk, backpack, I went like, live long and prosper. And she got so happy that she immediately hugged me and she was like, "You're the best. And I love your glasses." And I was like, "Thank you."
I must figure out what this means.
I couldn't until the end of night when Elliot told me that my glasses are actually glowing. And I was like, oh.
Incredible.
Well done. Good pick. That was story time. And I'm going to ask, what did you watch in the past week?
Oh, God. I haven't really been watching a whole lot. I mean, obviously, last week, before we did our episode about Watch the Shadow and Bone, that was kind of the first time in a while I'd watched anything. Also, just as a point, this background has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. I just wanted it.
It's just cute. It's Milo and Jasper, so
yeah. This is, again, the Milo here is the most important character of the entire series.
100%. Milo is just the best.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, I haven't really been watching all that stuff. I've been trying to catch up on Critical Role, and failing because I'm like 4 episodes behind, which is about 12 hours worth of content.
Jesus Christ.
And I've just been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 with some friends of mine, so I haven't really been watching a whole lot, to be honest. That being said, the new season of Handmaid's Tale has just started, so I've got 3 episodes of Handmaid's Tale I should probably get around to watching at some point.
Why do I see posts where they say that they wish that this series would end?
I don't know. I haven't seen the 4th season yet. I think that maybe this would be probably a good place for it to end, considering where they're kind of getting to. But no, it's already been written for season 5, so fuck knows where it's going.
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, but still, I will get around at one point.
At some point. I'll sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I haven't. I watched Shadow and Bone, and then that was the last big thing that I watched.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I don't know what's going on with me, but I just don't feel like sitting down and watching something, which is not great because we have a movie podcast. I should really just sit down.
Sometimes this happens, and you get into something that isn't something you watch. Like I will get into things I will play more than I will watch stuff, or I will read stuff more than I watch stuff, and it just happens every once in a while.
I've been writing. I can't drink, but you know what I mean. And hopefully soon everybody else will know. But until then, it's just wink, wink. I had a thought today, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. Is that I'm gonna watch The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings again. It's time.
It's time. Well, it's that time. It's that time again.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I feel like I need to see my hobbits and Thorin and Gandalf and everyone. So
I should give that a go again at some point.
Yeah, I should get back and Smaug.
Is it heresy to you if I told you I've only actually seen them all once? I've seen them, but I've only seen them the once.
I think my heart stopped for a second.
I watched them quite late because it wasn't something that we grew up with. We had them all, but it wasn't something that was like my parents weren't into them particularly much, or neither of my brothers got particularly into it. So it was only like 8 years ago or something like that I watched them.
I wanted to grab them, but they are not next to me.
They're not
that's why I tried.
Yeah, I thought I took a while. I had to sit down and be like, I'm going to watch Lord of the Rings, and it was around the time all the Hobbit movies were coming out, so I sat down and watched them all, and I like them a lot. But I find Lord of the Rings very difficult to get into just because of the very intense amount of lore and the way that people will talk about it, and they'll start saying things, and then I'm like, I'm lost. You've lost me.
Oh no. Well, I don't know if you know this, but I even have it tattooed on my shoulder. Like,
yeah. I see the appeal, and I did enjoy them. It was just, I find very like hard fantasy difficult to engage in because there's so much of it, and I find it a bit overwhelming. It's like listening to Stephen Colbert to talk about Lord of the Rings is like,
oh, I love Stephen.
I mean, so do I, but like, good Lord, that man knows his.
He was in The Hobbit, and then he was in Lord of the Rings as well. Peter Jackson gave him cameos because he loves it so much.
It's like every once in a while he'll sit there and he'll just start spouting things from like the Silmarillion or something, and I'm like, I don't know.
He's like that. We love Stephen. Stephen is awesome. He had a great interview with Smaug.
Please welcome the last great fire drake of the Third Age, Smaug! It's Smaug. Smaug. Smaug! 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 I don't hear the difference.
Like Smaug the dragon. I don't know if you have seen it or not, but it was so funny. And Benedict obviously did the voice and everything, and they animated the whole thing. Like,
that's very cute.
Come on, so good. And if you watch, I have Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, both of them in like 3 different Blu-rays and everything. And I just discovered a 4th one, and I'm like, I shouldn't buy this, but I might buy it because I don't have it and I need it.
I'm a man.
And they have the behind the scenes, and there's actually like a 10-minute part where they just talk about how Stephen Colbert loves the whole thing and his cameos and everything. So cute, adorable.
Yeah. It's Stephen Colbert, and then the other person I know who knows a lot about it is Brennan Lee Mulligan, who's an incredible DM. Works for College Humor, very amazing storyteller. But he's another one of those guys who just kind of knows everything. So he'll just start spouting lore, and I'm like, it hurts my brain. I can't keep up with this.
Yeah, it's.
I get the same. It's the same thing I get with Game of Thrones. It's like both of those things. I can't. It's too much for me. There's too many people, and there's too much like stuff coming in behind it, and it's like I just can't. It's not built for me, you know. I like a softer fantasy, please.
It's hard for me to accept this. I'm struggling.
Wow.
You should most definitely start watching Game of Thrones. I'm just gonna put it out there again.
I tried to watch Game of Thrones.
That's not enough. You have to try harder, Katie.
I got up until the point Ned Stark got decapitated, and then I just didn't continue.
The best part. I mean, it's very sad, but you know, that's where you realize that they're not gonna fuck around in this. Like,
well, to be fair, I knew he was going to get decapitated from the start because I knew I like, despite the fact that I haven't really delved that far into the show, I do know a lot about it just from reading about it.
Fair. I mean, it's spoiled everywhere if you go on Twitter and everything.
Oh yeah, I read all the spoilers the day after all the episodes came out because I was like, I don't have the energy to keep up with the show, but I do like reading about it. So
really, I think you would really enjoy it, especially like I think Tyrion would be a favorite of yours.
I liked Tyrion. Yeah,
there you go. He has the best fucking lines in the whole series. So.
I will admit that maybe when I tried to watch Game of Thrones, because I was in the latter part of sixth form, so that would have been 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe now I'd be more into it. maybe it was just a matter of timing, but also I just
you should really get into it. It's really good. I need a rewatch on that as well, because why not? Except for season 8, I have I saved a guy on YouTube did a 2-hour-long video where he pitched a better ending for season 8 than what we actually got. So I decided that when I will rewatch it, I will watch up until season 7, and then I will just go to YouTube and just listen to him.
Does that ending include Jamie Lannister not sacrificing his life for his sister?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. It's him staying with Brienne of wonderful Gwendolyn Christie.
Like I said, I couldn't get into watching the show, but even I reading about that got annoyed.
Everyone got annoyed.
I just had no skin in the game, but I was reading that what? This is stupid.
In his version, obviously, Daenerys got the ending that she deserved as well. She
didn't go mad?
Nope. Because it didn't make sense since the whole character building that she had. So,
It's almost like they really just phoned the whole fucking thing in at the end of it, huh?
Yep. Yeah, because they got overly excited that they're going to get a Star Wars franchise, which they no longer have.
And they didn't.
And then, they were like, HBO wanted to give them 10 fucking seasons, and we got 8 because they were just rushing with it. They wanted to, step away from it, do bigger franchises, and then we are stuck with this fucked up ending, which doesn't make any sense. So it is what it is. Maybe one day someone will remake it and it's just gonna make sense, but I need my cast for that. So
it is one of those things where because the ending was so bad, I just I kind of went aggressively in the I really don't care side of it things. So now every time they're like, there's 5 spin-offs in the making, I'm like, oh please, just could you do something else?
I gotta say that the cast for the Targaryen series is fucking amazing.
I saw a couple of pictures of Matt Smith with his Mr.
Matt Smith, Ricey fans, and so many good actors are gonna be in that show that I'm still pissed at you, Game of Thrones, but I will watch it.
Yeah, it is one of those things where I'm like, okay, listen, just because something was good doesn't mean you need to then make 6 more of the same thing, right? Stick with one interesting story, and then leave that going for a little while, and then maybe you might be able to go make it into something else. Just stop making so many fucking things.
I will admit that I was a big The Walking Dead fan for up until Negan came in. I love Negan, by the way. So Jeffrey D. Morgan, I love you.
I love Jeffrey D. Morgan.
He's awesome, and he's a really good Negan. But then Momo, my favorite person, Morgan, who's played by the wonderful Lenny James, left the show and went to Fear the Walking Dead. And we love Fear the Walking Dead too. So now every Monday, me and my brother are just sitting in front of the TV watching Fear the Walking Dead. And I no longer watch the original show because I'm come on.
I gave up on The Walking Dead at the end of... Was it season 6 that had that was the introduction of Negan, where they had the whole who's gonna die thing, right? Yeah. I was fully planning to start watching season 7, and then I woke up in the morning, read who died, and was like, I think I'm done with this now.
I think a lot of people decided at that point that they were just done with it. Although I stayed until Rick died, because when they died, and he didn't really die. We all know then. But I was like, no. It just, I love Daryl, and but I'm like, no.
The only thing that tempts me to go back and watch bits of it is that I'm really enjoying watching Tom Paine in Prodigal Son at the moment, and I know he was Jesus,
and he died,
and I'm like, that would be something, huh?
And he died.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not entirely surprised.
He basically said, I think he said that he was just tired of it or something like that. So he was like, yeah, kill me, I don't care. Which is, it doesn't matter.
Now he's doing a great job in Prodigal Son, which is a show I very much love.
There you go. Some people
don't cancel Prodigal Son. Don't do it.
I don't think they will. As I hear it, it's very popular. So
yeah, you'd say that, but you know what Fox are like.
yeah, that's true. Yesterday I turned on the TV and The Mentalist was on, and guess who was in it? Fucking Pedro Pascal. I was like,
yeah, he was in the latest part of the show when after all the Red John stuff, he was like this FBI agent that Teresa dates for a little bit, and he's so lovely in it. But you know, it was one of those things where it was like he pops up, he's lovely, but at the same time, everybody's like, well, she's gonna go and get with Patrick at some point.
I don't know much about the show, but I was like, oh, that's Pedro. I like that.
Yeah,
that was my reaction.
You know, he was also in Graceland.
I know that.
He was only in it for a little bit, and it didn't go well for him. But like, he was in there. For the longest time, that was my strongest association with him, where I was like, oh, yeah, he's the guy who was in Graceland.
Oh, yeah. Game of Thrones as well.
Yes, he is in Game of Thrones. He has his eyes popped out.
Yeah. Bad end, but he did a great job still. We still love him in there, so it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I can't talk today. I just realized that now.
I think we're doing okay so far.
I don't know. It's just my tongue is like, I'm not gonna work for you today, and I'm like, okay.
No, thank you, sir.
That's fine. So let's get to the topic then, which is, you know, I just came up with this.
Vamped enough.
We're gonna give you guys 3 hidden gems, let's call them then, and that you should most definitely go and watch. And we're gonna start with Katie's first suggestion.
Are we? Okay. Well, okay, so I tried to come up with, because I've talked about a lot of indie movies on this podcast. I like bringing them up. I like watching them. When I find them, I try to kind of coalesce like a little list of like really good, honest sort of indie dramas, because I think they're the greatest. And I've gone for a couple that I don't think I've spoken about too much, but I've probably mentioned. I know I've definitely mentioned at least one of these. So I'll go with that one first, and it's called Celeste and Jesse Forever. It is what I would refer to as, instead of, I mean, it's not so much a romantic comedy as it is a divorce movie, but it is a comedy. It's about basically it's got Andy Samberg in it as well as Rashida Jones, and they're like best friends who have been married for a while but are in the process of getting a divorce, but they're still kind of like best friends. And everybody's like, it's really weird that you guys are hanging out this much, even though you're getting a divorce. And they're like, nah, it's fine. We've always been like this. It's just, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But the movie is about how, like, showing why their relationship didn't work, and like the two of them kind of moving on from each other. Yeah. And it's really lovely. Like, it's sad, but I think it's this lovely sort of story about, you know, appreciating the people who are in your life, who like maybe certain aspects of your relationship don't work out, but like they're still important to you, and like appreciating that aspect of you know, life in general. The end of the movie decidedly made me cry. It's but I don't think it's not a sad film. It's a very hopeful film, and it's got that really nice sort of like indie quality to it, where it's like these people really cared about the project that they're making, you know. Yeah, it's just, I mean, Andy Samberg is obviously amazing in it, and so is Rashida Jones. I think Rashida Jones's character is kind of more the main character in it, if I were to make that kind of a stipulation. I mean, it is like both of their movie. Like, they are the titular Celeste and Jesse. But it's I think, yeah, it's mostly just about it, like the appreciation of and understanding that relationships change in some form or another, and it doesn't mean that you stop mattering to each other. It just means that certain boundaries need to be put in place instead, and like you leave certain things behind and all that sort of stuff. And it's just really, really nice. It's one of those ones that I know people probably haven't seen because it's like actively not available on DVD in the UK. It's only available to like rent on like Amazon thing. I had to go searching for it because I'd heard really good things about it, but it's like it's so indie that it didn't get like a distribution a DVD distribution in the UK, so it's like I think it's available to rent on Amazon Prime if people are interested.
Nice.
And I would recommend because it's lovely.
I believe you. I did because I remember that you mentioned this movie before, and I wrote it up, but I haven't watched it yet.
That's all right.
I will get around. It's on the list. It's on the list, and it's on my computer now, so it shouldn't be just. It just should be a click, like play.
Click.
I will get around to it, but it sounds lovely. I love Andy Samberg, so.
It was 2012, so it was kind of when did Brooklyn Nine-Nine start?
I think
Was that 2013?
I think it was 13. Yeah, 13.
Yeah, so it's like a little bit before he kind of started doing less of the sort of sketchy sort of. It's more of a serious role, like before he really started doing more serious like roles, I think. And it's definitely one worth checking out because he's so good in it.
Yeah.
And he goes through such an interesting character development. What I like about it, like what I mean by I think it's more her movie than his, is that you see you're kind of with her for more of the movie, going through what she's feeling about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So when he kind of pops up and you kind of see everything that he goes through her eyes. So you kind of see his character development in fits and starts, which makes sense because she only sees him in a very specific sort of light. And then he kind of has to go through the sort of character change. She doesn't believe that he's possible of it, of going through it. I think it's just so interesting. And it's real fucking good.
I will definitely check it out. So I have two funny movies. And then one very serious, so I think I will start with the very serious. It's a Hungarian Blu-ray, but here we go. It's Just Mercy.
I bought that for my mother for Mother's Day.
I watched this movie 10 times at this point. Every time I cry like a baby on it because this is a true story, Just Mercy. It's based on Brian Stevenson's book under the same name, Just Mercy. And, well... It's about Walter Macmillan, who was in prison for something that he didn't even commit. It's played by Jamie Foxx, freaking wonderfully. And Brian fought for this man, for Walter, because there was no hearing, nothing. There was only one person saying that he saw Walter, at the crime scene, and everything basically says that he didn't do it, but racism, my friends, is just it makes me
racism.
it makes my blood fucking boil. Every time I start watching this movie, at the beginning scene is the cops arresting Walter Macmillan. And it makes me so fucking angry. I'm like, I'm literally sitting there and I'm like, just biting my own freaking fingers down. I think this movie is very, very important to be seen by everyone because it shows exactly how systematic racism works and how it just has to stop on every single fucking level because this is unforgivable in my eyes what they did with him and what they did with many, not just Walter. Actually, when the movie came out, that's when I think it was the US X Factor or America's Got Talent, I don't know which one, but Archie appeared and Archie was in prison for 20 years for something that he didn't do. And you know, it was like, oh God, I can't believe that we still have cases like this and that it's still something that's going on. And, you know, I think it's very important to talk about it. It's very important to follow it, to stand by it, because if it wouldn't have been for Brian's great idea to involve the public, basically, with 60 Minutes, which is like a crime solving TV show, then Walter would probably still be on death row or even dead by now. Well, he's sadly passed away by now, but it's like, god damn it, just god damn it. And Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx are fantastic in this movie, and it also has Brie Larson in it, who's a bit advocate of equality and all that thing. So it just came together so well, and I watch it as a reminder as well, and I watch it because it's a really fucking good movie.
Yeah, the prison system in the US is well, I mean, prison systems in general are fucking abominations. Very much with all of these people who are fighting for abolition of prison systems. It's I mean, Ava DuVernay has got a great documentary called The 41st. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Or is it the 40th? Oh,
I
haven't actually seen it, but I've heard so many amazing things about it. I also think I fucked up her name, so I'd like to apologize. Yeah,
isn't it?
It's 13th. I was
13th.
like,
There you go.
numbers.
You were
I'm so
quicker.
bad. Yeah, it's it's basically why the prison system in the US is it's the modern form of slavery, and it's the whole thing is horrifying, and if I think about it too much on a regular basis, I think I'd probably break down.
It's like,
so I don't know how people this is their lives. So I don't know how they
even the fact that they can do something like this is just it literally, like, I have to hold back because I would otherwise cry. That's why I have this awkward laughing instead, because it just makes me so freaking angry that they are still able to do this, and it's still happening. And that's why, whenever I have a chance, I'm just going like, fucking watch Just Mercy. If you watch anything today, watch that, or the next day go and watch Selma, or the next day go and watch 13th, and fucking educate yourself, people. And I don't have any better words than that. Like, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, don't listen to us. You should go listen to some people who actually know way more about it and are living this as an experience every day.
Yeah, go research it, listen to them. It's just like, just do the job. It's for everyone. So yeah, and watch Just Mercy, because just watch it. I really, really like this movie. It breaks my heart every time, but I love it.
Yeah, I bought it for my mum for Mother's Day because she loves Michael B. Jordan, and I knew I was like, she loves Michael B. Jordan. I knew this came out like last year at some point.
Yeah,
this is a good idea.
Yes. I completely understand your mum, because Michael is great. That's just it. I love Michael as well. So please educate yourself, people. Go and watch these movies. They are awesome. And let's hear your second choice.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide. No, I'll leave the fun one to last.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
So this one is another movie, because I've got a TV show on here as well. Which I've mentioned before, but I want to talk about in a little bit more detail. But this movie, I think I've mentioned before. I probably have. It's a very small movie that was remade from a German film, I think. It's called The Road Within.
Yes.
It stars Michael Sheen. Not Michael. Why did I say Michael? Robert. His name's Robert. What is? We were just talking about Michael. My brain went and it had to fit. I had to. Anyway, I'm sorry, Robert. I'm a really big fan of your life.
It happens to the best of us.
Robert Sheehan.
Yes.
And he plays a young man with Tourette's.
Such an awesome movie.
It's very good. he plays a young man with a pretty severe form of Tourette's. He has physical tics, he has verbal tics, and all et cetera, et cetera. And his mother passes away, and I think she was an alcoholic. I can't really remember the specifics of it.
She was alcoholic, yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of looked after each other in a way that probably wasn't great for either of them. And after she dies, he gets sent to kind of like a sort of outpatient place for people with different types of disorders. Like his dad takes him and he's like drops him off and be like, I can't really look after you. You're going to stay here. That sort of thing. And he meets Zoe Kravitz's character, who is a young woman with she has anorexia, which, as a point to people who might be interested in watching this, yes, this does have a depiction of anorexia in it, and if that sort of thing is triggering to you, then obviously don't. I think that this movie does actually deal with these things pretty well, considering in comparison to a lot of other movies about this sort of thing. And he also has a roommate in Dev Patel, who is a young man who has OCD.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, cast amazing.
Freaking awesome cast.
What a great cast.
Yes.
But what I like about it is that you kind of think it's going to end up being this thing where, you know, one of those like, oh, look, it's the psych ward people, and we're gonna maybe all we needed is to make friends, and that's all we need to get over our disorders, and that's that kind of thing. But it's not. In fact, within the first, I think maybe 20 minutes to half an hour of the movie, they break out of the facility by stealing somebody's car.
Yes.
Because Robert Sheen's character, whose name I can't remember anybody's names off the top of my head.
I am bad with names.
Just so bad with names.
Fine.
He wants to spread his mother's ashes by the ocean.
Yes.
And his father wouldn't let him, give him the chance to do that. So they break out of this facility by stealing a car. And they're like, let's go, we're going to the ocean. And things ensue, and it's just a story about allowing people to kind of take agency over their own lives. I think, in spite of things that other people might be like, oh, you can't do that because you have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And those boundaries should be set by people who have the thing, as opposed to other people who are like, we've decided that you can't do that. Unless it's like actively going to be a danger to yourself or others. I feel like that's obviously, but like, yeah, I like just, it's not a perfect movie. I think the ending gets a bit muddled in places. But I just think like I said, Robert Sheen gives an incredible performance in it. So I think it's one of my favorite performances of his. Because he's not Nathan or Klaus in it, he's not like just being sort of loud and inappropriate. Like, he's a little bit inappropriate in it, but a lot of that is because of the Tourette's. He's actually a very sweet kid who just like really wants to spread his mother's ashes by the ocean. And Dev Patel is just so funny, and
he's so good in it.
And I like the fact that a lot of his stuff is like, oh no, this is still going to continue to be a thing for me. Like, I can't stop doing this. I have OCD. But he does kind of push himself to not be so insular and like hide, because he doesn't want to come on this road trip. He just is there by accident. He's like, no, I want to go back now. And actually being out in the wilderness and actually kind of experiencing life was like good for him. And like, it doesn't always necessarily have to be this, you can't force yourself into a bubble. You do have to kind of sometimes go out and experience things. And I think Zoe Kravitz is hers is probably the saddest, but it is still quite important. I like the fact that it built into it is not this sense of like, oh, she went out into the world and now she knows how to eat properly, because it's never that easy. I also like the fact that Robert Sheen's character with her goes through this sort of thing of like, oh, I could probably save her, and then by the end of it, he's like, no, not my job. She needs help other than me. And yeah, it's a really lovely movie. Again, one of those ones that doesn't have a wide release, so you might have to go digging for a bit if you want to go find it. But I would recommend.
I think you can rent it on Amazon.
I think it's another one you can rent. Yeah, it's just a really sweet little movie. Also, the bloopers, which are up on YouTube somewhere, are very funny.
Yeah, that's right.
I've watched them a couple of times.
Yeah, they are really good, really, really good. Good choice. I like that movie.
It's a long period of Robert Sheen trying to say one line with an American accent, just being like, fuck, I can't do it.
Do you think it's farther to top?
Do I look like a tall guy?
Sorry. Do you think it's far to I can't fucking say that line. What's wrong with me?
The struggle is real. I do like that movie. It's a good choice, and definitely watch it, guys. It's a very lovely movie. Okay, we will go to my funny ones now.
Yay!
So we love Martin McDonagh and In Bruges and all that fun films, but I'm gonna say,
yeah. Do you know? I was thinking about this movie earlier. I was actually going through like I could mention Seven Psychopaths.
We have to mention Seven Psychopaths.
I love this movie.
It's batshit. Like
it's a good movie.
It's literal batshit crazy. This is the one he made right after In Bruges. So it has Colin Farrell again because they love each other, and that's completely fine. We love them working together. And Sam fucking Rockwell. I'm just gonna say his name like that because he's Sam fucking Rockwell, and he's the best character in this. I'm just gonna point it out. And then freaking Woody Harrelson, like hello, and Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken, I think, is really one of the standouts.
Oh my god, he's so funny in it. And if you haven't watched this movie, it's about a screenwriter who's Colin Farrell, played by Colin Farrell, and I don't remember exactly how they end up stealing the Woody Harrelson's dog. Basically,
I think Colin Farrell's trying to write a screenplay called Seven Psychopaths, but he only has the title and he has no idea about the plot.
Nothing.
And his best friend is Sam Rockwell, who is Psychopath.
Yes.
And I think at some point, like I think he has a business, or no, I think he sets it up so that his friend then has like material to write about. So he purposefully steals this dog in order to like for shit to go down.
That's right. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched it in a while, so actually I might be watching this tonight instead of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings rerun, because it's just so funny as well. Like it's bloody at points, but even that is funny.
I think possibly my favorite. I've got 2 points that already stand out to me. One is the fact that Tom Waits basically plays the Zodiac Killer.
I mean, come on.
Who has like some weird obsession with bunny rabbits.
It's just so funny. Like, come on.
And then there's another bit later on where after like somebody gets shot in front of Colin Farrell, and he comes into his apartment like covered in blood, and just like, ugh.
Oh my god. It's and Sam Rockwell in there as well, like when he reveals who he is really, and what he did for Colin Farrell basically, and he's like, what the ending, like, fuck?
This is the shooter.
Oh, so good, and they are playing really smartly with getting to know the 7 psychopaths. Like I really like those small stories in there that they included. They were so well done.
The one about the Quaker.
Yes, that's probably my favorite in there as well. So yeah, In Bruges is great. The 3 billboards are freaking great. It got a lot of Oscars as well. But this is just like this is a gem.
It's arguably like the weaker one of his movies, but that is saying something considering the fact that they're all fucking brilliant.
Right?
like that's all you need to really know, is that like all of them are brilliant movies.
Yeah.
Like In Bruges remains one of my favorite films
100%.
ever.
Yes.
But I do love Seven Psychopaths a lot.
It's so good. It's so good. When we, I remember that when we went to watch it in the cinema, I didn't know that it was Martin's film. I don't know. Somehow it just never got to my attention. And we watched it, and I remember after the first like 10 minutes, I was like, I think this is Martin's film. I have a feeling that he made
This
this.
feels like Martin McDonagh.
And I was like, at the end, I was like, I'm so good at this.
I'm gonna put a little like asterisk and put like an extra thing in here, because
Yes.
I just thought of it, considering you were just talking about that. Martin McDonagh's brother also is a filmmaker.
Oh, yes.
Who made an Irish film called The Guard, which I recommend people watch if they haven't, because it's very funny.
Yes.
It's Brendan Gleeson and it's Don Cheadle, isn't
I
it?
think it's Don Cheadle. Again, the names.
I'm pretty sure it's Don Cheadle.
Yes,
it is. Okay,
it is,
I wasn't
it
going
is.
crazy.
This
And
movie was so good as well.
so Don Cheadle is an FBI agent who turns up in west coast of Ireland to investigate a trafficking case. And Brendan Gleeson is like an Irish cop, also known as a Garda, hence why it's called The Guard. And it's just very funny.
It is.
And it's set in the west of Ireland, which is it's where a lot of my family comes from, so I love it very dearly for that aspect of it as well. That's just an extra one to throw in there if people are interested. It's great.
It's a good movie. I agree. It should be there. But let's hear your TV show.
My actual last one. I've definitely also I mentioned this quickly, I think on our back when we did just a audio podcast, when we did our top
Yes.
TV shows, because I had a very long list of other things that I couldn't really go into properly, and I was like, I'm just going to mention these real quick. So I'm going with I think most people have seen the Limitless movie, but this is the Limitless TV show.
Oh, okay.
Which is set in the same universe as the Limitless movie. In fact, it also includes Bradley Cooper's character. He plays an important part of it, but he's not the main character. The main character is played by I have to remember how to say his last name. Jake McDorman, that's it. Who plays Brian, who is a sweet guy who, like, a friend of his is like, hey, I have this pill. It means that he's a struggling musician. He's kind of a nobody kind of guy. Life didn't really go anywhere for him, despite the fact that he was always like, yeah, I'm working on some stuff, it's gonna be great, and all this sort of stuff. And he's kind of the fuck up of the family.
Yeah.
And then his dad gets very sick with something, and nobody can figure out what it is that he's sick with. And on like a similar day, a friend of his is like, oh, I've got this pill. Maybe it'll help you, kickstart your music thing again. And he takes it, and it's obviously the NZT pill from the movie.
Yes.
And he uses it. He goes about and he uses it, and it's all like he has a lot of fun with it. He kind of does a lot of stuff it's fun, and then he realizes that now his brain is working better. He can figure out what's wrong with his dad.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the first things he does, and then the FBI gets involved, and then like there's a whole murder thing that happens, and it all gets very kind of out of the ordinary. This is all in just the pilot episode. They think he killed somebody because he goes back to try and get another pill, and the guy who gave him the pill in the first place is dead. And he's like, oh shit. And so the FBI start chasing after him because they think he was the one who did it. And he spends the rest of the episode trying to clear his name. And I just love the fact, like, I haven't actually gotten around to watching the movie. Yeah, I have it, and I still haven't gotten around to it. But I know that Bradley Cooper's character in the movie is kind of a dick. And what I loved about this show is that Brian is he's so good. He's such a good dude. He just wants to help people. And I think I found it to be, you get so many things nowadays where it's like, anti-hero characters, they're kind of assholes and all this sort of stuff. And it was just really nice to get into a show where the main character was just a guy trying to do his best to do the right thing. Yeah. Despite the fact that he gets caught up in the situation where it's like taking NZT for long periods kills you. basically. It's like and then he kind of comes into contact with Bradley Cooper's character, who's like, hey, I'm giving you this cure. I want you to kind of spy on the FBI for me. And it's the only reason so the FBI are like, how are you still taking this stuff without dying? We're going to study you, and in the meantime you can help us solve cases. So it's like a procedural thing. They do crime, there were crimes, and he takes NDT, and he's all brilliant and stuff. But it's really funny and like visually super interesting, because they Brian's super imaginative when he's on the NCT. And he makes like diagrams constantly. He's constantly making like art pieces to show his point. And they do a lot of very interesting visual stuff. And it only ran for one season, and it really annoys me because it was such a good show, and it was one of those ones I think really missed everybody by. And so whenever I get the chance and people are like, I'd like to watch a show, and I'm like, have you considered watching the one and only season of Limitless? Because it's great. And it doesn't end on such a cliffhanger that makes me go, I'm so annoyed.
Yeah.
They still tied it off in enough of a way that it's like, okay, I can live with not seeing any more of this, but they should have made more. I'm looking at you, CBS, you little bastards.
Yes, it happens with way too many TV shows, and we don't like it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but I might get around to it.
I think it should still be on Netflix.
I think it is. I saw it pop up yesterday, so unless it was the movie, but I don't think it was the movie. I know
that the movie was on there for ages, but
Yes.
now I'm like, Limitless.
Check it.
Yeah.
There you
Hang
go.
on. No, hang on.
No? Yes? No?
No, the series is not on Netflix anymore.
Oh, no.
The movie's on here, but the series is gone.
No. You probably
That's very annoying.
still can rent it on Amazon or somewhere.
Now I want to know where it is.
Find it out. Should I jump on my last one as well then?
Yeah, you do that. Okay, so you can buy the whole season on Amazon for like 25 quid.
There you go.
But it was very annoying. It was on Netflix for freaking ages.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. I probably saw the movies thing yesterday then.
Yeah.
So my last
I have it on
one-
DVD.
That's fair. My last one is one of my all-time favorite body comedy, and I don't think enough people have seen it, and I want more people to see it. It's a fucking classic, and it's Tremors. And I am in love with this movie. I saw it. I'm not joking. I saw it 150 times.
Good lord.
And I watch it every time it goes on TV. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD. I have it on VHS. Kids, VHS is a thing that we had before DVDs and Blu-rays. And I still have it. This one is freaking gold, and I will forever mourn the fact that they were gonna bring back Kevin Bacon to a TV series from based on this, and Sci-Fi cancelled it before even airing the first season, so we only have like a trailer for it, and that's all you see from what they created, and I'm like, fuck you guys. This was the 25th anniversary special edition. It came out in the year when I was born, which is 1990. And it is with Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward. They play Wall and Earl. And they are the best freaking buddies in the world. And they have to fight underground monsters. And this movie was so big, I'm not joking. This was so big that it has now 6 or 7 follow-up movies with Bert Gummer returning, played by the fantastic Michael Gross, who was in this one as well. And it also has a TV series, so that was like a one-season TV show, also with Michael Gross playing Bert Gummer, and it was really fun. It even had Christopher Lloyd in it, who plays the Doc in Back to the Future. But this one is the real deal. Like, the jokes in there are mental at places, and these two have such a good chemistry with each other that I am in hard belief that this was the example for many movies that followed on how to create a good body comedy. And if you haven't seen it yet, freaking watch it. They have practical effects in there, and they work so well even today that you can tell that it's not the real thing. Like, the monsters are done beautifully, and there's actually, if you get this version, there's a behind the scenes on how they did it, and it's just amazing to see that from that money that now doesn't even enough for like an episode of a bigger TV show. They made these monsters and they made it so realistic that even today it just stands its ground completely well. So please watch it if you haven't seen Tremors. Just please watch it because Kevin Bacon is awesome in it and Fred Ward is awesome in it and everyone is awesome in it and I know it by heart. So please, it's really good. And I really love it and I am trying to convince Tom that we should watch it at one of the movie nights and we still haven't, so I am just gonna keep trying.
Fair enough.
And I have one honorable mention. Please also watch this movie. It's called Attack the Block. This was John Boyega's, one of John Boyega's first movies. It's really funny. It has Alias. It has Nick Frost. So, what else do you need? Yes.
I'm just trying to think because I think there was a whole thing about it in this month's Empire magazine.
About Attack the Block?
Yeah, because I think it's like they had like an anniversary of it recently.
Yeah.
If it wasn't this month, it was last month.
That should have been.
Oh no.
Right.
There it is. Getting the band again back together. They did like a big old Zoom thing. Now a decade old.
There you go. One of the producers is Edgar Wright. I'm just saying. Oh,
so they did a whole Zoom meeting and they had a chat. I just realized I just covered up with the micro.
Oh, I love this movie dearly as well. It's really, really fun. It has really good special effects. I'm going to just point it out as well. Like, well done. And John Boyega is so good in it. And also Nick Frost as well. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but that's Nick Frost. Mm-hmm. And he's like a punk rocker in there. It's really, really funny. So please watch this movies and TV show. These are hidden gems.
I do have one more just because you mentioned buddy cop things. I was like, because I tweeted about this the other day because I was just thinking about it. This movie got consistently recommended to me by or recommended to everybody, but like I kept seeing it from Jack Howard, who's a YouTuber that I like very much like. He does a lot of film stuff. And it's called The Nice Guys. It's Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and they're 70s. Like he's a private detective. Ryan Gosling, I think they're both private detectives.
Yeah.
And they get together to like solve. It's the murder of a. I can't remember the specifics of the movie now. I just know it's so funny. It's a Shane Black movie. The dialogue is hilarious. It's why I want Ryan Gosling to do more comedy movies. He's so funny.
He's really good.
Like, this really should have been the beginning of, like, several movies about these two trying to solve a bunch of stupid crimes in a way that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Because it doesn't. It's like...
Oh, no, there's just... It's so goddamn good. I mean, the styling of it all is hilarious. And I think the standout for the movie for me, because it really surprised me, is the girl who plays his daughter.
Yes!
She is the funniest goddamn part.
She's so good in there. I'm going to find her name because I'm not going to remember it.
I don't remember.
But it was her breakout role.
Mm-hmm. She's brilliant in it. And I was thinking about it because I had a gift set that came up from it the other day where it was like, he said that he does something like, he goes, Jesus Christ, he goes, you just said the Lord's name in vain. It's like, actually I found it very useful, Janet.
Oh my god, I can't say her name. Can you say it? Andrew Rice? Am I saying it right?
I think so.
I think so too. She's really good in there.
She's spectacular.
Yes.
Like, just hilarious. I really want to remember the actual plot of the freaking film.
She plays Betty in the new Spider-Man movies, Homecoming and Far From Home.
That's right. I did not put that together, but you're absolutely correct.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay. So this one woman basically hires one of the other private detectives to go over the other private detective.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Oh, I haven't seen it in such a long time now. I
But
remember the drug scene when they get high on. That just lives in my head, right?
The funniest thing about it for me is the fact that he just keeps like getting like Ryan Gosling's character just keeps getting into these situations where he should absolutely be dead, and he just
100%.
doesn't die.
He just doesn't die. I mean, there's one point in there where he falls off from the window or something like that.
Yeah, he just straight up falls off a balcony.
Oh yes, that's it. And he
It
survives.
rolls down a hill, and you know what? He finds a clue.
Yes. It's pretty good.
It's a bit near the end where he's like, I don't think I can die. It's so good. Oh
God. There are some gems out there, guys.
You can rent it on Amazon for 99p. And
that's nothing. Yeah, I like this.
yeah, it's a great film. I might watch that again at some point tonight.
I have to watch it again as well. I haven't seen it in a while now, so there are some blurry parts in it. But oh my god, that when they get high, that scene is just fucking. It's just fucking gold. Oh god.
Yeah. If you're like me and you really like Iron Man 3, same humor because it's the same guy.
100% the same humor. Yes. Okay. I think that's it for today. We had some good recommendations and
it's under an hour.
It's under
Tom's
an
gonna
hour.
be thrilled.
Oh yeah, they're gonna celebrate. One more thing. I am just as upset as you are that it wasn't Chadwick who got the Oscar, but please stop harassing Anthony Hopkins because he won.
It's not his fault. It's the Academy's.
It's
and
not
the number
his
of people
fault.
who consistently don't watch all of the films before they start voting.
And you know, just leave that man alone, please. It's just so uncalled for, and you know, he was such a gentleman even when he found out that he won, and I just feel so bad seeing all those horrible tweets that fucking Anthony, I'm like, fuck off, he's a living legend, leave him alone, it's not his fault. That's all I have to say, and I love Chadwick, and in my heart he won. Oh yeah, watch that movie as well. Ma Rainey's
at bottom.
Yes,
I have
please.
heard very good things about it.
Please watch
One day we'll actually allow Viola Davis to get the Oscar she fucking deserves.
Yes, I love. I also gonna say that I love Frances, and
so do I.
She was great in Nomadland. Also, freaking happy for Chloe Zhao because, like, come on. But Viola should have won. I'm just gonna point it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still love you, Frances, but yeah.
You have 2 other Oscars.
Yes. But yeah, that's it. That's the last message from me for today. And yeah, watch movies, watch TV, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Now we have an Instagram before we forget. And we are still up as a podcast as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I keep forgetting to post the links for that, but we are still going on the podcast platform. I'm just gonna start posting the links from now on. And yeah, and follow us individually, which I'm gonna put probably in the right order somewhere.
You say that.
I forget. And Milo is the real MVP, and that's it.
He absolutely is. Never forget our time together.
Yeah, never. And we love you all. Bye.
Please share our episodes when they come out.
Yes,
It really helps
please.
us.
Yeah, and leave comments because it helps with the stupid algorithm.
And also, I like reading them.
Me
Despite the
too.
fact that I told myself I wasn't going to.
I know.
When we started doing this, I like. There's not many of them, so it's nice.
But yeah, be good and stay safe.
Yes. God, please.